So a few years ago, I was working in my backyard and putting in a 1/10 scale, crawler course, backyard trail course. And at that time, I had a full-size skid steer that blew a head gasket. It was fairly old. And I went and, I saw a cat, and I went to BOBCAT and I said, you both make radio control skid steers, can I give them both a try? Maybe you guys could have a competition or something at my place and we could have fun with those skid steers. And BOBCAT at the time, the representative for the BOBCAT said no, they didn't want to do that. But the cat company said absolutely, we want to do something cool with you. So I ended up purchasing a large full-size cat skid steer, and viewers of the show kind of know that. Now, in honor of that experience, my first episode of unboxing these two machines from LESU, no, I didn't sneeze. I know, it's an ongoing joke for me. I took one of these kits, this is going to be the tracked kit, and I painted it all white because it was definitely BOBCAT worthy. There again is the hydraulic tank and the valves, and then of course the drive gears. Motor. On this side, I decided to paint the wheeled version, although it is not a cat-based model. I went with the cat yellow. Why? Just so I could build one that was like my full-size skid steer, and then I could have a mini RC skid steer of my larger RC skid steer and would have RC inception. Let's get started building, guys. Now, of course, if you are just joining me and you did not see the unboxing, you'll see here I'm building an all-metal tracked skid steer with a clamshell bucket, as well as on the other side, I am building a similar model, yet this one has wheels. Now, I definitely agree, this is not a cat model, but I think just with the backstory I have, I think it's legit. I had enough people say to me that were viewers, please build another model like your large one. So I thought, no problem at all. What is the first step in both of these books? Let's see. Okay, so we're looking at the motor and the valve block. And what about this one? I believe it's the exact same step in both. So here are some of the brass lines that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be putting the pins in there for the flow pin, and then making sure that it comes straight horizontal out off of the motor block. So what are we looking at? So on this side, here is the motor and the pump. We're going to be putting the hose or that brass piece right on top of that and making sure it comes out horizontal through the front. And of course on this side, here are those two pieces. Same on the other side, there are the pieces right there below. I'll get out the pins. The other thing I'm going to be using today is some thread sealant for hydraulics. This is going to help seal any leaks or anything like that. I use this on all of my builds. I suggest you can do that as well, just so you don't have any leaks if you do hydraulics. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, A1, I need 4 flow pins, and I need to build them with those graphite washers. Then insert them on either side. No problem. There is A1, and a few minutes later, while I'm messing around, I made sure to get the direction of the pins proper. You got to make sure you're doing it all right, plus you get the graphite washers in place. I'll just go ahead and put this in like that. Twist it to the side, twist it back, and then lock it down. And of course, what I do to one side, I will be doing to the other. Okay, then we install the second one on the other side. This time I'll just put a tiny dab of thread lock onto the pin. And then that way I will work it into the spot right here. Now this is the one that goes to the valve block itself on the opposite side. So we can kind of just finagle it in there so you guys can see it. And then twist it like that. Beautiful. I'm always careful not to cross thread any of this stuff. If you feel the slightest bit of resistance, just back off and let it seat properly before you crank on it. Come on, that's what she said. Beautiful. That's right where it should be. I also like that the servos already came pre-installed into this block. That means that you're not going to have any issues, or you shouldn't have any issues with it being completely center when you start everything up. As I almost learned the hard way as I put this down here, the balance of it, because of the arms out here, now it's kind of heavy on this side, so be careful if you are building this, because this wanted to fall a moment ago, and of course bending these would just completely ruin it. But if you're already forewarned of that hazard, there you go, you can make sure it's far from the edge. Okay, so I'll grab the chassis again. We're going to be using this first set of 4 holes right there. That's where this whole pump is going to be situated. Move it here. This is a little bit of a tight squeeze, but can be done. So it just kind of goes in on an angle like this. Even though it looks like it's going to run into the bars, you kind of just gently work it in like that. And then as the bars clear, you'll actually see the plate line up down here with the holes, and then you know you're 100% where you need to be. Then some Loctite, or if you've painted it, you might not even need the Loctite because of the extra paint in the hole, and then just cinch it down. Ta-da! Just think of the engineering that went into that, guys. It's got a whole hydraulic valve block, a pump, a motor, and servos to control it. Unbelievable. Okay, now here it starts to get a little different. Even though this picture is the same, it says install as shown, you're going to notice that the drive motors and output drives there are kind of going to be situated differently depending on which book you have, okay? It's basically the same picture, but then it starts to get different right in this section right here. Whereas over here, we're installing a front-driven axle as well. Somebody's like, you only have 2 drive motors. And the answer is because even in the full-size skid steers, they have a chain-driven front wheel. I don't know if that's the case in all of them, but I know it's usually 2 main gearboxes in the back attached to a chain. So that's the way we're going to do it with the wheeled component. So we're going to focus on this one for right now. We're going to get these situated in here. And one thing, if you are building this, it says the EL001 sound controller is placed under the motor. I'm assuming that should be is placed under the motor. Controller S, yep. So I'm going to have a look at that. Here is the sound unit over here. If you guys missed the unboxing video, you want to be privy to the information that this kit actually came with it. Okay, so there is a cable for the brushless motor that's for the pump. That cable is actually going to have to be in this center area. If you do build this kit, just take note if you're confused which side it goes in on. Just see the bottom 4 holes on either side. And of course this side, no holes at all. So we know that that's going to be the bottom because it has to line up. I'm just going to kind of put it in here sideways like that. And then as I try to feed it through, this is definitely a trick, but I got this side through first, and then like that, and then I'm going to bend it down, but being careful of those wires and the 2 brass hoses there. Going to line up that brushless cable. Everything should start sliding into place here. Come on, man, you're supposed to be a professional. Perfect, there we go. And then now what I need to do is just line up these holes on the bottom and get that in. Cardboard stuck to my paint. Darn you! So now you can see the differences. There is the drive for the tracked machine. It's a little bit higher than the one that is wheeled, of course, which is down a little bit on the low side there. Okay, the next step on the track loader is installing the hydraulic tank, which is the one I put my sticker on there. On my wheeled version, in goes that front axle, so I'm just being careful of the way it's positioned, and it says install as shown only after you mount up that plate, which is A8. Here is that plate, and of course over here is the axle. We can cut that open right now. Beautiful, so there's 4 mounting holes on the bottom. I will assume after I check that it will go somewhat like that. I'll Loctite that into place. Okay, like this. The hydraulic tank was super easy to install, just 2 screws on the bottom. Now I'm going to cinch down the top return, well, one's the return and one's the out valve, the flow valve. Okay, so there is the sound controller under the motors. Now I wrapped my wires a little bit differently. They wanted me to come up through the back in here. I actually went in between the 2 motors themselves. I don't think that's going to be much of an issue at all. I just made sure that they didn't get wrapped around the actual motor leads for power. So that section is complete. Beautiful. And this one has that front part in, basically the same thing with the controller under there. And now I will put in the hydro tank. Hello. Oh, but according to the instructions, I'm not. The instructions actually does not have me putting that in. In fact, we get to move on to the chain drive. Now, just so that we're all on the same page, understanding each other, you can see there are 2 drive pin holes on both axles. Well, this one you can't see it as much, but there is one on the inside there and then one right on the outside. There, you can see there. Perfect, just like that. Then I can drop both of them onto the stubs, the axle stubs, at the same time. Ta-da. Beautiful. Have a look at this. See how the chain is inset like that? There you'll see on either side I installed a top track or chain tensioner. See that? And then this is why, if you are building one of these and using this video as a reference, don't have these cinched down like it says in the book. It says not to have them cinched down. That way you don't have like a super tight chain. And then you can always tighten it up later if it kind of gets used or worn or whatever. But man, that looks good. I'm just adding the slightest amount of grease. I'm not too worried. It's not like this is going to be running super fast. Okay, this one, we just take these outside, what are these, plastic? I'll have to open those up to tell. I think so, though. No, they're not. Aluminum, nice. These are going to go on the outside of this. I will grab the M2 bolt. And so what I'm going to do is take this one, and then you can see there's a beveled edge. That's going to go towards the inside. And then I just got to bolt it on. Then I install the other side. Then I grab this funky looking piece right here, which I believe is right here for either side. Those are plastic. Nope, aluminum. Pop them on with some screws. Just when you thought RC panography could not get any better, I start doing 2 at the same time. Okay, I'll get these ones. These ones were actually brass colored, but I painted over them. Let's see here, 2 bearings and then some M26 bolts to get it on. And just because I never know when my RCs are going to see water or snow or some sort of moisture, I make sure to treat my bearings before I seat them. I put waterproof grease in behind the bearing and then in front of the bearing. And yes, there is a difference in greases. A marine grease does last longer than a regular lithium grease or something like that. Alright, so here are the idler wheel holders. This is actually going to be used to adjust the tension of the track when it's in place. And basically, here's the idler wheel right here. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of pins and bearings, which means I'm mostly going to be doing this off camera. And although you guys have only been watching this video for like maybe, what, 16 minutes now, maybe even less, this has taken me the greater part of the day so far. So be prepared if you're building to have some fun and invest some time into your build. Okay, now all of the rollers have bearings seated in. And all of them have been pre-greased, so that'll help prevent any kind of rust. And here is one of the idler wheels mounted up with grease. I'm just going to put in the final screw with a bit of Loctite. And now I can install the tank, which is just simply 2 screws at the bottom and then moving the line up to accommodate where it needs to go. And I go ahead and grab the springs, feed them over the neck of the idler wheel. Then I mount it and slide it in just like that and make sure that it can move freely, because you want to make sure the tensioner can tension the belt. Now I know it's a bit out of order, but let's go ahead and grab the brass hex adapters. These are actually going to be what power the wheels, because I already painted the wheels and mounted them up here. Ta-da! They look exactly like cat tires. And I think we should mount them up on here for our finishing move today. There, I got all the rollers in there. There's C-clips on the other side of these bolts. Big roller at the top. Every one of these has grease and good to go. So I put a bearing on the drive cog right here. This is going to be the main drive ring. Alright. Drive pin goes through the axle stub. And then the drive cog. Beautiful. That fits so nicely, my friends. I'm just going to put a lock nut on the end so it locks it in place. Okay, now you can see what it's like with the 2 adapters on either side. Of course, adding some more weight to the machine. And there are drive pins behind that. Now it's time literally for me just to bolt the tires on. Okay, a couple of M310s countersunk. They're going to go into the open holes of the track carriage. You'll notice on the inside that there's 2 metal pieces sticking out, like these little nipples here. Those are going to be sunk right into the frame right here and here. So I'll go ahead and cinch that on. Alright, well, the LT5 and the LT5H are well underway, my friends. I think this is a great spot for me to take a break, maybe catch some dinner. I've been working on this non-stop today, but I know you guys are excited as I am to see it come together. What do you think of the BOBCAT, hey? This is looking pretty sick. The tracks are on there. They're very easy to put on. They do have quite a bit of tension to them. Not an issue for me right now. I found over here, look at this. The cat looks almost identical to my full-size skid steer, even though it will be changing. I want to know your opinion right now, because I asked you in the first one, but maybe you're just joining us, or maybe your thoughts have changed. Are you a tracked BOBCAT? Or are you a wheeled cat? Who knows, maybe you'd rather have a tracked cat and a wheeled BOBCAT, but I think they're all pretty insane. Heck, maybe you don't even want either one and you're like a John Deere or some other brand. Either way, I want to know what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comment section down below, and as always, I'll do my best to read them. If you feel in the mood, drop me a like click. This is pretty epic to do 2 at the same time for all the people on the internet. That's totally what she said.